see. Oh, hey, that's in the balances, they go up, they are together lighter than a breath.
Put no confidence in extortion, and set no vain hope on robbery. If riches increase, do not set your heart on them.
11. Once God has spoken, twice have I heard this, that power belongs to God. 12. Together. And steadfast love belongs to you, O Lord.
For you repay to all according to your word.
The Decalogue. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt know the gods before me. Lord, have mercy upon us, and incline our hearts to keep his law. Here with Christ I will say this. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love the Lord thy neighbor thy God. Thou shalt love thy neighbor thy God. These two commandments, and all the law and the prophets. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. You may be seated. Lesson today, trust in God alone. The Psalm of David, the 62nd Psalm. And our title for the day is Trust in God. This is the last lesson of this month for worship in God. A song that we don't know the tune of it, anything, but it's something that David wrote. And we're going to study it and have a lively discussion. Usually they take joy in that.
Yeah, you're going to get them back.
I didn't even get a chance to give them the same text and greet it. Y'all good morning. Morning, like a little rock. Yeah. Let you have all that stupid in a minute. Why the greatness, man? It's a shame, boy. The stuff you be able to do. You could bend over, put your hand in the tie, you know, hey, turn the bicycle upside down, now for looking. All that is getting to be kind of hazardous to your health. But nevertheless, God's work be done. Well, I tell you what, it's a beautiful day. You know, it's been a nice week, all week long, boy. Got kind of what that sun was shining. Good day to be out there. People that want to be inside were getting mad because they had to go to work. Then you walk to the air conditioning. Boy, I tell you what, it's reading some places. Trust in God alone. But that's a title right there. And like we're over there that leads to the fact that oftentimes you're dealing with songs, you're dealing with songs. Too bad, boy, they didn't pass our tune down so everybody can sing. You don't have to sing and stuff, you know, but I guess you have to be creative and have to invent your own stuff, you know, but, you know. Somebody tell me why we need trust in God. God alone.
Because, for one, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. For one, trying to put your trust in people, they will let you down.
How many times?
And it's not because sometimes they try to let you down. Sometimes they can't help but let you down. Because if I seen some on Facebook the other day. They said, name something that your partner has did to you, a lie that made a promise that did hurt your feelings. This lady said, he proposed to me, and 8 months later he died.
Woo! Woo!
He couldn't.
Yeah.
So sometimes people can't help You know, you put your trust in them, and they gonna let you down, not because they want to, but sometimes because circumstances prevent them from keeping their own promise.
So, yeah.
And then the Bible says we shouldn't make a promise anyway.
Especially if you can't keep
It's just,
and you're making a vow to the Lord. But that, you know, and sometimes people don't, you know, don't fully grasp, you know, the seriousness of putting your trust up. Me and my wife were going to Panama City last night, and we was talking about today's lesson and stuff, you know, and it reminded me that I need to get back, you know, to things that I used to do a lot of times. Sometimes you get so busy, you know, you ain't with it. Eddie used to be, anytime in the afternoon when Ness used to be cooking, that was Bible study time, Sunday school lesson time. While she was cooking, I'm reading, you know, some scriptures out of the Bible. We talking, so while she's cooking, we discussing, you know, what does say the Lord, or what Sunday school lesson was all about and stuff. So by the time she got through cooking, we just about went through the whole thing, you know. And we started asking questions. I said, first of all and stuff, you know, look at the key verse. But God alone my soul waits in silence, but my hope is from him. Psalm 62. Like Pastor said, it's hard to put your trust, you know, in man. Not because you don't have friends that's trustworthy, people that you can depend on, people that you can call on and stuff, but generally because of that nature. We're going back again, free will and that old sin nature inside of it. But sometimes we like crabs in a barrel. Sometimes, if I think Eddie getting a little more notoriety or Eddie getting a little more whatever, guess what? Natural instinct. That's supposed to be going to me. Hey. See, we ain't learned yet. It's just too easy to say, well, hey, kudos to Eddie. If God did it for him, guess what? And this whole lesson based on one premise, waiting. Do you have the patience to wait on the Lord to give you yours? See, everybody wanted, you know, because somebody else gets something, everybody, man, should have went to me. Can't say nothing negatively speaking all the time. You know, you can't be positive in your response to say, well, so-and-so just got a new house. Oh, they didn't deserve it. Hey, kudos to them. Now, when 100 more people get blessed like that, well, then the community is now get this nice. You understand? Because now you're starting to look at, you know, as something that everybody can enjoy. And you know, it used to be a blight, Pastor. People used to say all the time and stuff. You know, and sometimes one thing about I've learned about the Caucasian race and stuff, they're gonna tell you straight up what it is. They, you know, they think you should know when if it ain't right in their side. For years they've been saying about, oh, y'all got plenty of land. Y'all tear down some of the ragged houses. What you got in it? You got plenty of places to build whatever y'all want. And everybody took it for granted when they said, oh, they just, you know, they don't want to live over here. That's the paper mill going full blue. They don't want their cars to get messed all over with the line, have to endure the smell. Guess what? 50, 60 plus years, that's gone. Ain't no smell no more. And guess what? Every time it rains and every time it floods, who flood out? Across time. And who want this nothing that they wouldn't have took on the silver platter? You know? And every now and then, like I say, I get joy out of seeing people progression. Somebody, you know, somebody asks me, oh, how you like your new neighbor's house next to you and stuff? You know, I see all the water flooded in the yard, right? You know, I could sit there and be vain and say, yeah, you know, I'm sick of this. Every time I can't walk out my front door. Only thing I said was, well, at least I know where all the low places in my yard is where I need to put some more dirt in it. And I do know in order to stop this from being a permanent problem, I got to make my yard higher than my neighbor's yard. So when all her gutters, you know, start flushing the water down, guess what? They'll drain somewhere else. I'm even thinking about getting some, you know, how they get them little cutout bricks with a little thing in and put by the fence so the water can run straight on down the fence wall out the gate. You know, sometimes we spend a whole lot of time doing stuff that causes us. You ever heard about you self-defeaters in your nature and your attitude and what you do? You put yourself in a position to fail yourself because you're not willing. And me and Ness had a long discussion with him about this stuff. What is total submission to God? Brandon, what is being totally sold out to God? What is being totally sold out to God?
You giving God your everything. Trust, everything. Everything you do, you give it all to Him. Your life be led by Him.
You know, easy to say it, said many different ways, but boy, in practice, a lot of people just, even in your love relationship, your marriage, you know, people heard for you, it's a 50-50 proposition, you know, and then, you know, you start to look at it and say, how can you only get 50% in your marriage when that's supposed to be a total obligation, you know? Well, you know, from growing up, from living up, I give you 50% of me, but I gotta keep 50 for myself. Now, how selfish can that be? Yeah. You know, and sometimes you want to give God a portion, but you want to still hold on to it. You know, and like me, the pastor alluded to it, I had to let Ness know when we was riding down the road. I said, baby, how do we serve God? She said, spirit and truth. So now, as human beings and stuff, you know, we know God, I need you to bless me. Mm-hmm. Now, do God really hear you? Mm-hmm. Now, if you talk to God, you know, you in a whole different realm. And discussion got so she said, hold up, wait a minute, hold, stop right here. So what we talking about? I said, I'm talking about serving God, you know. Now, I could go through you with all the summations about the Bible, about no flesh shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, you know, flesh, I can't do this, but then what? If you're going to serve God in spirit and truth, that means, guess what? You got to go to a whole different realm when you're talking to God. You got to touch out and reach God in your relationship. It got to be so completely wide open, total surrender to God. Your relationship is such that, like I said, God, you know, I just need to talk to you right now. Nothing really, you know. I'm not hurting. I'm not feeling bad and stuff. There's nothing I really need. But I just want to ask you, why is it that sometimes things happen to us that we can't control or have no knowledge of beforehand? You know, you get caught out there sometimes trying to, you know, as human beings, we good at trying to do God's job, interpret God's word, you know, so it fits what we trying to say, what we're trying to do and stuff. Sometimes you have to look at yourself and say, God, for you I live, for you alone do I live, and I give my all in all to you, you know, to satisfy what it is of your desire. Remember what Jesus told his father in Gethsemane? You know? Not my will, but your will be done. You know, but if you can pick this cup away from me, you know, hey, I like that too, you know, but kind of like Hebrew boys all over again, you know, God can save us, you know, total trust. But if He don't, I'm still gonna trust Him, regardless. And see, sometimes just because we go through trials and tribulation, don't mean that it necessitates that our faith get weak, that we gotta say, well, man, you ever see those downtrodden look that over? Hey, what's wrong, man? Oh man, there ain't nothing going right. But first of all, get your hand out your pocket. My grandmother taught me something when I was very young and stuff that I shared and passed it on with people and stuff. She said, how you know when you're having a pity party, Eddie? When you're having a pity party.
When you throw the pity party.
Yeah, hey, most people sit down when they have a pity party. Guess what my grandma said? If you keep your chin, just take your hand, like we do it all the time, saluting all that. But take your hand, and you got your chin right there. No matter what's going on, you understand? You ain't all downtrodden. You ain't giving up. But guess what? Now, if you're down here, you got the chin right there. What's happening to you? Every time you bring your hand, you hit yourself in the nose because you're having a pity party. But if you got, she said, if you keep the head up, baby, I said, girl, what you mean? She said, if you keep that head at a certain level, say, if you don't show people what you're going through, they'll never know it. You know, she said, you should walk just as proud with no money in your pocket as you do when you got plenty of money. And nobody don't see it, you don't know what's going on in your life unless you tell it. But sometimes when we give God that same kind of, you know, attributes and stuff, you know. See, as human beings, we want to keep trying to strive what we think, you know, God is like what God should be doing. And we find find that most times God is the total opposite of what we think as human beings. Because we're looking at the five senses, you know, what I can see, you know, what I can feel, I can touch, you know, and I can look at all that. But see, God beyond all that. If you got the power to speak stuff in existence, you don't have time to worry about what's going on that particular day specifically. Because guess what? You're concerned with the big picture. And the big picture for our life and stuff is being, you know, obedient to the word of God and stuff. David, when he wrote this, David was going through a whole lot of trials and tribulations in his life and stuff, you know. Hard to say that there's something about it when you start reading about it. Don't nobody know a lot of times exactly what and when it happened, you know, so you try to get some, you know, you trying to guesstimate, figure out, hope you can come up with something that's close to it. Closely come to it that David was serving in Saul's, you know, house at this time. He had went through some stuff when Saul was trying to kill him, you know. He had enemies on all sides, you know, his son Absalom, you know, reportedly one reason he may have tried to rebel against him and usurp his throne. But David had enemies. You read the lesson, said David had enemies, but they were identified who these enemies are. But it was such that David was in a, and I like this one phrase, and kind of give you stuff said. The terror sent David hurriedly to God looking for cover and relief. Now, that means you got something on you and something coming at you that you can't deal with. And it's during our moments of going through turmoil and distress that when we, most times, submit totally, God can't handle it, you know. And you ever thought about for you to really be able to accomplish some things, stuff that you got to, that old saying about you got to give something to get something? To be totally surrendered to God and stuff, you know, don't just mean I'm going to bail you out when you're going through something. It means that even when you're having great time, it will be a little bit more. See, God, and I like what Pastor said, we all sit down, and the lesson point that I did to and stuff is that God gives us grace and mercy. God can also give us wrath. But when you put the two together, the grace and the mercy and the wrath, say the one thing that God epitomized, what Jesus also epitomized, was that it all turned out to be love. God can temper his rage and his punishment towards us, and God can also temper the amount of love and grace he gives us, depending on how obedient we are, you know, to what we're doing. So we serve a God that's not just one-sided one way, you know. And the pastor put him out, he said, well, you know, God is God of justice. You know, he believed in justice wasn't right, but he also believed in second chance. You know, I'm showing you some love. You know, I'm going to shed down some mercy that you can't receive, you know, because you don't really deserve it. But if I don't, you ever thought about sometime when your mom and dad say, this is going to hurt you more than it hurt me when they used to be putting that paddle on you, and you say, and you eventually ask that old question, say,
It's gonna hurt you more.
Mama, how come I'm on the one feeling all this hurt you talking about gonna hurt you more? Now, explain to me how it's hurting you, you know? And so you look at people sometimes where they are and stuff, you know, you said, and they, you know, when you pour out, when you get to the point in your relationship with God and stuff that you can willingly pour out your total being to God, you know, God, I just don't see no end to this, you know. As much as I try, it seems like I take 2 steps forward and I go back 5, you know. Is it the reason I'm having to go back 5 every time? You know, I say, you never told me this journey was going to be easy. But do I have to contend with, you know, people on the front and back and the sides, either trying to knock me down? This is what they go, how long do I have to contend with, you know? Can I have a day of what? Peace. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spent the first 20 years of my life, and everybody used to have a teacher one time. He told me I was he said, you were born in the wrong age. You should have been born in the Gilded Age. You're about 400 years too late. I said, well, you know, I kind of envision living in a world where, you know, everybody treated everybody equal and stuff, you know, and it is what it is. You have to, you know, and you can be at peace with nature and yourself, you know. He said, now it's hypothetical, could be, won't be, never be, because. And I said, why is that, Professor? He said, she made God. Yeah. And I kind of looked at him and said, yeah, you're right. But God alone, my soul waiting in silence. Can you be still? Can you be still? Can you be obedient? Can you wait on the Lord to come? Is that always on time yet? Sometimes, well, look at you still inch one. Oh, I keep waiting. And for us as human beings, sometimes we get a little irritated. Some of us even get mad because, well, you know, Lord, I done prayed to you. Pastor the Bible said, talking about how sometimes when you don't pray to the Lord for, heal some of your relatives, your best friend, you don't let somebody die. They die anyway. But Lord, I prayed to you. Why my age? Why my mama? Why my grandmama? Why my friends still die? And never realize sometimes that, it might just been time that your mom, your friend, whoever might have been in such excruciating pain and stuff that it's unbearable at that point. I'm giving them the one thing they need: rest. Rest in from your labor, come on in and rest and be comforted. When God, and I like to ask that part, when God give us peace and he give us rest, man, that's serenity. You're talking about, hey, you at peace because hey, you happy, and you ain't looking at all of the negative things in the world when you wake up and stuff, you're not seeing all the bad things, but you're seeing. And when you get down to the first 5, which epitomize everything that we should be considered. Say, for God alone, my soul waits in silence, but his hope is for him. If you ain't got time to sit there and go through something, if you ain't got time to sit there and wait on the Lord to give you rest, a lot of times we have young ladies who want to get married. Oh, I've been waiting. And old people tell them, say, well, if you wait, the Lord will send you somebody. And most ladies get frustrated, how long I got to wait? However long you take. But you ever hear 70 men say, man, I'm going to wait on the Lord to send me this perfect lady, you know what I'm saying? Do you say, well, I ain't got to wait on the Lord. I can choose pretty good for myself. Mm-hmm. And how many times have you went out there on your own and got with something you thought, well, hey, that's the one. And hey, you get excited, go back home and tell mom, yeah, mama, I found that perfect lady and stuff. And well, look at the whole body fall out and stuff. Because we live in a world today where instant matter. We want everything to happen right now. Not no later, we want to happen right now, So we can serve God, but we want God to be like we are, instantaneous. But Lord, I need a blessing. Lord, I need $100,000, If we had a God like that and stuff, hey, nobody wouldn't be sad. Everybody be happy or something. Guess what? Everybody serve God. But what happened then? Yeah, you may want that $100,000, but do you need that $100,000 to do what you're doing to make it work?
Better yet, another city is, because we can always figure out why we need it. But in the eyesight of the Lord, do you deserve that $100,000? I think that's a better question. What have we done?
You want.
Yes.
You want it.
You want.
You want.
Yeah. And something else, you mentioned that verse 5. And he also said in verse 1, my soul waits in silence.
Yes.
That's a powerful statement. And the 2 words, wait in silence. We know, Isaiah said, those that wait on the Lord renew faith. It is easy to wait on the Lord when things going good.
Yes.
It is good to put our trust in the Lord when things going good. It is easy to be submissive to the Lord when things going good. It's easy to be submissive when things are going good, right? But when things are going bad, when things are not going the way you thought they should, for one, it's hard to be silent. For two, it's hard to wait. And I'll give a prime example. I think all of us watch sports and get our favorite team. When your favorite team is winning, it's good to be submissive to the coach. You like everything is okay. Everything is okay. But when they start losing, for one, you can't be silent. You got to voice your opinion on everything they call. And two, you already gave up. You can't wait till the end. You can't wait on the process, right? So it's easy in life to be submissive when things going good. But when things are starting to go bad, and like in David's situation, and a lot of the brothers said, because some theologians say it was during when he was dealing with Saul. Others say he was already the king and was dealing with Absalom.
Mm-hmm.
So whichever way it is, if it was dealing with Saul, it was a mentor, a best friend, somebody he looked up to that turned his back. If it was Absalom, it was his own blood. So sometimes we got to realize it ain't the enemy that's causing us all this hard to get back. It's sometimes the people that's close to us is our biggest enemy and our adversary. And that's why the pain comes. So when them people come at us, when it's them, we still got to wait on the Lord. And sometimes the best thing to do is wait in silence. That don't mean you ain't continuing going on about your day, right? But I'm waiting on the Lord to fix the situation. And I'm going inside. Well, what's going on? How you feeling today? I'm blessed.
You know, you said,
Yeah.
I look at it a little bit different from what you said.
Mm-hmm.
When you said, like, it's easy to, if things going good, easy to be submissive. But I find that if things going good, people just go on about their business, do what they want to do. But then when things go bad, they come running. They come running to church. They be submissive.
I like it.
Pay bill was running, people just going on about their business. Pay bill closed in, people in church that never came to church. Y'all remember that? You know, they were coming to church. And they got submissive.
You know, and see, that's the thing. And one thing you know, and the lesson one line and stuff, and I was sitting there talking to my wife and explaining, I say, you know, a lot of, you know, what Pastor saying, Ramona saying this stuff is based on your relationship with the Lord. You know, what kind of faith, you know, or you know, Julie, you know, what kind of faith are you content? Where are you standing when in reference to the Lord and stuff, you know? It's not easy to be silent, you know, and humble and everything going on. Because sometimes, as human beings, especially, hey, black men, we've been told to wait, things gonna change. Well, how long will I keep waiting? You know, I see all this evil all around. You know, I see all the stuff we having to deal with, you know, every day. You know, how long must I keep waiting before I see some results and stuff? You know, and you know, and I think, you know, say, listen, we look at the value of waiting, especially waiting on the Lord. Say a strong correlation between the time we spent in stillness and quietness and overall health, just like our spiritual, you know, health applies. Time we spent looking to and waiting on the Lord determines the place of our maturity and results we see from God. Being patient enough, you know, being mature enough as a Christian to wait on God to give you that answer, to provide that answer you've been looking for. Because guess what? All the books in the world, you can read them and stuff, you know. All the people in the world you can talk to. The coincide biblically in Sunday church lesson. No one person know all of the answers when it comes to, you know, serving the Lord. That's why sometimes you have to dig into the Bible and the Word and do the research for yourself. See, where am I? Am I lining up? You know, am I, you know, too far to the right? Or too far to the left, you know, or am I standing on the path that I put myself on when I totally surrendered, you know, my life to God and stuff, you know. This psalm, they refer to this psalm as being a confidence psalm, a psalm that expresses trust and hope in God, in the middle of distress and suffering. Are you confident enough? And that's what David was. David was confident enough that even though I'm going through, while I'm going through, who is it that I'm leaning on and depending on? Yeah, David had an army. He could have called the army out and stuff and ran them out, get rid of all the enemies, kill everybody and stuff, But David chose, even doing the good and the bad that he went through, he chose to sit there and lean and depend on the Lord and stuff, And then you ask yourself sometimes, when I'm going through, who the first person I call on? When when everything all around me seems like it's falling into a bottomless pit, who is the only person can I trust to bring me some kind of relief and bring me out? Can you call on a friend Eddie to bring you out, Oh, I like to help you, brother, but I ain't doing so great myself right about now. You ever call and talk to the Lord and stuff, and the Lord told you, well, I can't help you right now and stuff, Most times stuff, if you're in that right relationship, bro, here's what you need. You done told me everything about what you want now. Tell me what you really need. You need me to pat you on the head like your mama used to do and stuff. You encourage you, say, oh, it'll be all right. Or you want me to tell you the truth, say, hey, tighten your belt up one more notch in the belt and stuff, and get up. And go and walk like a man, because you got to do it for yourself, See, God always helps those who do something to try to help themselves first. You can't, waiting on the Lord, when we talked about last Sunday, waiting on the Lord to come back on me. Hey, I'm just sitting back, kicking back, don't know when the Lord coming, but hey, I'm waiting on him. Mm-hmm. But what you doing in the meantime?
And I think that's when we say wait on the Lord, and it says in the lesson, wait, in Hebrew means stillness, motionless. But that means those that wait on the Lord shall find renewed strength. That is, in that situation that you've prayed about, that situation you don't know what to do. You wait on the Lord to answer that. That don't mean you just sit there and say, well, the Lord ain't answered me today. So I'm calling Brother Ed, say I ain't showing up. Because the Lord ain't told me what to preach. They told me you do that. And you still have that. That's that trust. I still am going day to day. But with this spiritual battle I'm having, this uncertainty, I'm waiting on the Lord to guide me. And I do it this way. That woman with the issue of blood. She went everywhere she could, and couldn't find no pit, couldn't find a healing, couldn't find a cure. But then she heard about Jesus and where he was going to be. So watch this. She showed up. You got to think about it. With all them crowds and all that, right? She had to show up before Jesus got there. And had to wait on him so he could pass by. Right? So sometimes we still got to, we move, and then we're at that place and we're still waiting. And we haven't even thought about that we're waiting on the Lord to give us the answer to it. And all of a sudden, while we're waiting in a location, the Lord passes by. He gives us that answer. So that's what it means. But that don't mean like we do sometimes. Lord, you took too long, or you took too long, so I went and got it myself. I should say this way: when you call somebody and ask them, "Can you bring me something?" They're like, "Yeah." And you thought they should be there 30 minutes ago, so you went to the store and got it yourself. And you come and say, "Don't worry about it. I get it myself. Don't worry about it. I do it myself."
Sometimes you can find yourself in that just because like I was saying, the woman with issue of blood ran the risk of being stoned. Uncleanness, going through a cycle she should never been
around people.
That's the cycle. And during this time frame where for 7 days, you supposed to be outside the city. Because before you came back in to get around people, you're supposed to purify yourself, So see, she took a whole lot of chances, because She was dedicated to trust in one thing. If I, I don't need him to touch me. What do I say? If I could just touch him, not the tassel, just him of his gun.
Well, two things I picked up, even with the pastor said, she trusted in God, then she positioned herself while she was waiting. She got in position to receive her blessing.
In spite of, she was determined.
Yeah.
See, when you, people make a lot of comments sometimes about serving God, that's the only God the rock can serve as the source of stability and rest. When God was David's fortress, he could comfortably and boldly profess that he could never be shaken. And so can we. When you trust God explicitly, God, I know, if I need to be healed, I know you're the only one that can do it. If that be your will. Look where Paul's situation in life was all the time and all the work he served God once he met Jesus on the Master Road. Paul, Lord, you take this out of me, because I can serve you better. It's my grace is sufficient.
And you covered it from Paul, even with him and Silas.
Yes.
When they locked him up and found out, when they locked him up and released him, the first thing they told Paul is not to preach in that name no more.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want, brother, but don't call on Jesus. You can do it, but don't talk about him. All right? And Paul said it was in that name that saved me.
Yeah.
I trust in that name. Because what you don't realize is that name that got me out of jail. Written out is that name. So got me out of the situation. So sometimes we can miss of something. And we don't see no way out. But we still have to wait on the Lord.
Yes.
Because we may try to dig ourselves out. And while we're trying to dig our way out of the tunnel, what we're doing is digging our way into another collapse. Like mountains and all of that. If you ever seen that when somebody's trapped below ground and stuff, they say, well, why can't we do this? No, because it ain't stable. We can't drill right down on it.
Come from the
We
side.
got to come from the side. We got to do this. We got to do this to support us. So the Lord is saying, yeah, you trapped, but I can't come straight at you. I got to brace up some stuff first. I got to maneuver some stuff. But while I'm maneuvering, I still got you saved.
And that's it. Trust, certainty, surety, See, all them equatable parallel words and stuff still saying one thing. And already, no matter how you go, you start reading the words and stuff, And I do give them the most kudos for stuff. They didn't have the education we had, And a lot of couldn't read, but one thing about it stuff is all the sons and sons, I said this, I will trust in the Lord till I die. I'm gonna wait on the Lord, whatever the Lord have for me, I'm gonna receive it before I die. You talking about somebody, no matter what they having to go through, hey, that mind, like say, there ain't no harm to keep your mind staying on Jesus, because we sometimes, especially in the day and age we live, like Reverend said stuff, coming to the Lord's house should be something just cause you going through something, or you trying to escape something, or get away from something, Coming to the Lord's house should be something that you should focus on, and David sometimes, all little acronyms he received, man after God's own heart, did a whole lot of things, fought wars for the Lord, did all this shit. Hey, David, just like any other human being and stuff, when times got hard, he might have had his doubts, but he had enough sense to say, Lord, I still remember all your promises, even though I ain't did everything 100% right, I still remember the promises that you made, I still remember when you said, you never leave us nor forsake us, or leave us alone,
I think sometimes we miss this right here. We all, and I think I mentioned this last student, we all can agree David was a man after God's own heart. But even with that, David still messed up.
Yes. Yes.
Right. David still wasn't perfect.
That's right.
David still had his vices, but he still was a man after God's own heart. And when he got him time here, he did like most people do. But when he messed up, he tried to cover it up.
That's right.
And when he was called out on it, the difference is when he was called out on it, he immediately
Went on
submitted to the Lord. He immediately tried to turn. So we got to realize that we're not as righteous as David. Our heart is not probably as pure as David's was. But what David hit us at is when he realized he messed up, he immediately submitted. Sometimes after we've tried to cover it up, then after we've been called out on the cover up, we try to cover it up more. It don't go to the Lord. But I get what I'm saying, that we got to realize that we're all going to fall short. It's what we do after.
And that's what I'm sure. See, David model for us was that, yes, I did with enemy, I did some bad things, I did some good things, but through it all and stuff, the only one that kept me, the only one that made me stay here and kept me here was God. Because let's face it, being an adulteress, being a murderer, living and supposed to be the head of the people, David already did enough to get his head cut off, get stoned, God came. But, like Pastor said, God looking at your heart. See, God always look at the total picture. It's not what somebody else saying about you. What do you think about yourself, And sometimes when we get so caught up with stuff, on what's being said and how it's said and stuff, we forget about that. Even in darkness, the word let us know there's light. And when if you walking in the light and you allow darkness to creep in, guess what? Eventually, darkness. If you allow darkness to take over your life, And so sometimes, you got to know where it is, who it is, what it is that you living for and stuff, And like David had to reassess his situation. He had to refocus, And when you look at the verse, he said, yes, my soul will find rest in the Lord. My hope comes from him. Truly, he is my rock and my salvation is my fortress. I will not be shaken, But then they say, my soul, salvation and my honor depends on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. God, being all those things to David and stuff, God was still the one point that he could look to, that he could hope to receive an answer from. And he went to, and sometimes it's hard to go to the person that you say, they're kind of like a kid when you go to mom and dad. Mom and dad got you in the hand and stuff, Either they gonna reward you or they gonna chastise you for something you done and stuff, And the thing about the Christians and stuff, God will chastise us sometimes, for doing stuff that's not pleasing in His sight. But that don't mean He got to totally, cast us to the side and stuff, Especially if you know that we are truly, say every Sunday, come forward if you truly, depend on living a new life and stuff. And everybody sometimes just words, Pastor, because everybody don't add no meaning to the word you said. They say, draw near with faith, So that's why I asked you that question. Bible study about, is it good? Is it miss out on, communion? Yeah, because see, sometimes, you may be missing out, like Eddie say, sometimes you may be missing out on the blessing that's right there for you, but you won't reach out to receive it and grab, Sometimes when we go through something, it's nice, as Christians and stuff, that, most Christians, your first thing when going through something, or trying to get through something, is that you go address it and call on the Lord. Lord help me. I can't do it by myself, Lord, please show me what it is I need to be doing, and sometimes, when you find yourself in it, and it seems like, one thing about our adversary, that was you can recognize who it is trying to cause your demise, and who's trying to keep you, from reaching your full capacity and stuff, because the one thing, serving the Lord ain't never been easy. Never will be easy. But boy, again, just think about how worse it was before you came to the Lord. The devil didn't care nothing about what you did, but the first time you tried to make that turn to do something different, to do something right, boy, like somebody dropped a ton of bread on your head, and your feet got stuck, you couldn't move. You say, where's all this coming from? And I told somebody one time, I said, the devil ain't had no reason to come at you. He was his. I said, the devil had you. He ain't got to worry about you. He was trying to see who else he could get to turn around. But you tried to turn around and you tried to go back to serving God. Now you're proper to the devil. Now the devil coming at you full force because you trying to the Eddie being my number one person down here that I can depend on to do it my way. Now all of a sudden Eddie trying to do a 180-degree turn on me. He trying to go straight back to where it was when he started. You ever thought about how different your life is from the time when you was a kid growing up till you finally get out there? For me, as the Lord of the world, I used to always wonder, what's going on in the places behind the closed doors where all the grown people always running in and out of, And boy, when I got old enough to go behind them doors, still smelling bathrooms, something always running, the floor always wet, they smell bad, people smoking cigarettes. And I said, Lord, this is what I was in a hurry trying to see what. I said, guess what? Let me take you back to the fresh air. But sometimes, you got to look at yourself, when you look at the examples, and God is good at giving us examples of people to follow, and if you ever notice, God, just like his son, when he was on earth, neither one chose perfect people to carry out, their work. They chose people who had some kind of flaw, that they could work with because they knew where the heart was, And sometimes even with some of us and stuff, God pick and choose people that he wanted to carry out his mission and to carry out his labor love and stuff. And I like the lesson Lester pointed out, and it ain't got nothing to do about your birth. Whether you low birth or high birth, hey, they said to put it on the old scale, they used to wear stuff in the old days, say, hey, you put both on the same scale together and stuff, say, what it be worth a brick? You'll be too light to make the scale, move because you're not faithful enough in the sight of God and stuff, to make a difference. So that's why it's a daily thing that you have to work at and stuff. But as long as you continue to put your faith, you continue to rest in the Lord and stuff, you halfway on the journey to where you're trying to get to and stuff, because we all have to admit stuff. This is not a sprint for us, this is a journey. This is a lifelong journey, Some of us got on it early. Some of us, got on the middle age. Some people get on it right at the time when they get ready to leave here, But the point is, it don't matter when you get on it, just get on it, Recognize who it is you serve and why, you serve and say, and the thing about, and I particularly like what Papa said was, don't try to exploit those under you, those that's weaker than you, who don't have as much education or money as you do and stuff, because God can hold you accountable for doing something to the least of these and stuff. If you're not helping people, don't hurt them and stuff. And if you ain't going to embrace the Lord and stuff, then do like David said and stuff. I would trust in the Lord. Because guess what? When I can't trust in nobody else, I can trust in the one person and the one thing that can give me the glory, that can keep me sane enough, even in silence. So that's another thing about silence when you're waiting there in silence. It can sound like 10,000 drums.
Silence can be so loud.
It's like, you waiting. I remember all the nights in the dark, waiting on a field that decided to start, Got all these vehicles and stuff, and, you got people can't hardly see, you got people can't drive. You say, I had one crazy boy who was my driver. His favorite thing was, let me see, can I knock this tree down? Especially in Germany, man. Run over the tree again and knock it down. I run into it with APC and stuff, and I said, what, you crazy? And then I always look around somewhere, because I always saw this little man in a black suit and a tie in a Volkswagen, riding behind us everywhere we went and stuff. And what the man was looking for, don't tell nobody you knocking the tree down. This man had a little pencil and stuff saying, the tree's about 20 feet tall, it's about, about 10, centimeters in circumference and stuff, so this tree here ought to cost $800, that was knocked down, and guess what? The U.S. government got a bill because some private decided it was fun to go knock the tree down and stuff. It's always fun when you're doing what's right, but sometimes you're doing wrong and stuff, and you go against the thing of God, He's gonna cost you. So continue to trust in the Lord and put the Lord at the front of your life and stuff, and at the end of the journey, you can't get where you need to be.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay. You ready, Brother Fields?
Yeah.
All right.
Pastor, you got
Yeah, 10 and 10.
Can't.
10 for Sister Linda, 10 for me.
Tim Sisselman? Tim,
Brother Fields.
trust in God alone. New Beth AME Church, Fort St. Joe, Florida. Class report, date 27 October 24, class number 1, teacher present, students joining today, none, visitors none. Total students present 2, total present 5, total contribution $50. Bishop Barbara Sanders presiding, pray labor, Reverend Tansy Moss, second presiding Miller, Reverend Christopher Jordan, pastor, Brother Clansman, head superintendent, Brother Frederick Fennell Senior, assistant superintendent. Bible verse. For God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from Him. Psalm 62, 8 verse.
Amen. Thank you. Okay. General review. Somebody want to read your overall review?
Nobody talk
about some things.
Nobody know it all, but everybody got something to say.
Pastor.
I'll save some for my final remarks. But, one thing that is easy to break and hard to repair is trust.
Right, yes, amen.
Amen.
The text, in the case that it talks about neuroscience research shows that in ways our brains are hardwired to trust others. But once that trust is broken, it's hard to get it back. So that's why we should try to focus our trust on the Lord.
Yeah.
Because if we focus our trust and put our trust in Him, we will never have trust issues.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And to add to you saying, Pastor Peter, we put here as Christians of God to commune together.
Mhm.
We're supposed to love each other, and look out for each other, and naturally supposed to gravitate towards trust and helping each other.
Mhm.
We doing all the things as human beings that's opposite of what it is God created us for itself, because put here to live in harmony, sometimes we all over the place. And it's usually at them times when they get all out of hand where God has to just wind everything back in and stuff. But sometimes trust is something, once lost, it's hard to get it back.
Yeah, 3 questions. I'm going to read these questions.
Yeah.
Does waiting on the Lord means ignoring opportunities to do something toward a solution? 2, how would you describe a skeptic? Peace to a skeptic, the peace of past that passes understanding. And 3, how can we help others to develop or strengthen their trust in Jehovah God? So 3 good questions. All right. Well, Fields, you got any comments overall? Not necessarily to those questions, or whatever you want.
Well,
Let's say
there's some trust in God alone. I was looking at the Psalm 62, verse 8. Trust Him at all times. O people, pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us. I believe that. I believe that, I remember I was in a church, the lady called me up, said she was gonna pray for me after I didn't go up there. And when I got up there, first thing came out of her mouth, she said, Eddie, you don't trust nobody. I looked at her, looked around, and the first thing popped in my head, I said, Bob will say trust no man. But I didn't say that. I looked at her and I said, I thought you called me up here to pray for me. But in my head, I'm saying, God said trust no man. But me, I trust in God. You want to trust people to a certain extent. Like Brother Philip said, you know, once you lose that trust, it's hard to gain it back. And see, with God, when you trust in God, God will do you right. Man, do wrong, you have your faith out that you believe it. Yeah, believe me, man, trust what I say. And then as soon as you turn your back, you get stuck. So, you know, I believe that wholeheartedly to say trust in God alone. Let's say trust in Him, nobody else.
But what was that second question, Brother? You read?
How would you describe to a skeptic the peace that passes understanding?
That's my foot right
Yeah.
there. Skeptic, somebody who don't believe in, you know, in nothing, you know, no matter what you say to him, he always got an opinion and stuff. First of all, the stuff, you know, as Christians, you know, you have to ask yourself, you know, am I totally committed to God? You know, have I surrendered all to God? Do I trust God 100% to do those things, you know, to make my life better and stuff, you know, because when a person looking at you and what you purporting to be don't line up. See, we talk all the time about inside these walls, everybody here for the same purpose, you know, hey, oh, we better believe, we trust God, we love God. But the people outside, when you outside these doors and you don't have your suit on, you don't have your tie on and stuff, you know, or you that same, you know, trust and loving person, you know, because we have been told that we gonna not only entertain angels, but we gonna be tried on every side. You know, we're gonna have people gonna say, well, I don't think through all that. You know, you're gonna find a situation where you have to, you know, may want to defend yourself and stuff, but you know, your trust in God and stuff, you know, it's something that should show, you know. And if people don't see it, they gonna continually come at you, and they all gonna sit one time perch waiting to see if you're gonna do something that's out of character. You know, so I told you so. Sometimes it's not easy, you know, but you can't give in to what somebody else's expectation for you is, because see, you got to be firmly committed. You know, I can tell Brother Monet all day long, you got to love the Lord, but if Brother Monet don't believe that for himself, you know, first, who is you to tell me what I need to do? You know. It's you know, because salvation is gonna always and still is an individual thing. You know, you got to put it together.
And it kind of like to piggyback and answer that. I didn't really pay attention to the questions. And how do you describe to a skeptic the peace that passes understanding? When you're talking to that skeptic, you ask them, why are you skeptical? And you just have some conversations. And then the way you describe it is, why are you being skeptic? I don't know and understand why you're being skeptic, but I still got peace in knowing that I don't understand and I don't want to understand. So I'm going to leave her in peace while you leave in skepticism and still wondering why. So the peace that passes all understanding is described in this way. While you're trying to figure it out, God is already working it out.
Amen.
Why are you asking why? God is saying, why not?
Yes.
So sometimes in order to explain the peace to people that are skeptic is not saying, take why out of your vocabulary. Why did they do this to me? And just take why out. And just say, they did it to me. Now, what are you going to do about it?
And it's, as well, because most people, a lot of times, and I'll be interested to say, when you talking to people who critical, and untrusting, hey, you got to talk to them with the word. You got to speak to them what the word say. Say, it's easy to tell a skeptic, why you serving God. Well, I'll tell you up front, because God doesn't tell us in the word. And if you shame me down here, guess what? I ain't gonna say nothing good for you in front of my Father. If you expect to get up, sometimes people don't want to hear, the word per se strictly from the Bible, but they will listen to your related experiences. When you stop, look, one time just like you, didn't trust nobody, didn't believe in nothing, but life experience have taught me that, hey, you gotta trust somebody, you gotta trust something, so why not God? And sometimes, my wife keep preaching to me that, and my daughters as well, that it's hard sometimes to reach people where they are, but that's where you have to meet them at and stuff. If you're gonna try to convince them, what it is that you get out from serving the Lord.
I think that's what David is doing in this psalm right here. That if you look at this Psalms 62, you see that verses 1 through 7. Look at that verse there. David is talking about himself here. Yeah, about 14. My eyes in here talk about my. All these verses say, you say, God is alone, my soul. He's my rock. He's my salvation. It's all about, he's talking about himself. If you notice, all these other songs that we've discussed in this unit of study, they're about praising God, right? About praising God and everything. But this song right here that we're looking at today, it's not a prayer and it's not a praise. King David is sharing his confidence in God, what he's doing here. He's saying that, what he is to him. And he talks about, he said that King David is sharing his confidence in God and expressing his total dependence on God. And that's what he wants, that's what he's trying to get us to do. We want to be totally dependent on man, don't depend on money, don't depend on your power, your riches, your influence, all these things. People depend on those and they fade away, more than rust and corrupt that. You won't have no U-Hauls going to a cemetery, when you behind hers. All that stuff is gone away. But he said, depend on God. And he said that Psalm 62 asks God for nothing. He doesn't ask him for anything. He's praying. What he is doing, he's not praying or praying. He's talking about what God has done for him and who you should depend on. And then when you get down to verse 8 and so on, he talks to us. He tells us that we should put no confidence in money, in power, and all those things. This is what David is telling us. And it says, he said, ask God for nothing. So built on faith and trust. It has no fear in it. It has no despair in this song. You're not crying out, whining, some of these other songs that he's talking about. He's not doing any of those things. He said, God is our refuge. God is a life challenge. Depend on God. Regardless of what happened to you in life, put your trust in God. Things are going to happen. That's part of living. That's all part of living. Things are going to happen. You be up today and down tomorrow. Look at all these, and I was reading this lesson. It reminds me of the politics that's going on now. A lot of people got all this power. They got everybody, one for this person, one for that person. The governorship, the presidency, the senators, the representatives. They all find something to say about the other person, and they put their trust in all of that, and how much money they raise, and all these things. But all that fades away. You're in power for 4 years or 8 years or whatever, and then boom, you're out. And then people start looking to that other person one day. Forget about that person.
Yeah.
So you don't put your trust in all of that. So this lesson is a great lesson for us, and to depend on God alone. And it says trust in God. put no confidence in man. And because those things, all that power that had said, I think it says if you was away, you were to weigh that power, weigh all that stuff, wouldn't weigh anything. It's like a breath. It's like a breath. You know, you take a breath, boom, and it goes away like the twinkling of an eye. And how fast your eye bats and so on. And it's just bat your eye. You see how you don't even miss it. That's how fast it's going away. So this is a great lesson for us, and we need to look at that. Next unit of study is God's children gives thanks. Unit 3. It looks at 4 songs in lesson 10. The background is Psalm 23. So we all know that one. So that's the next lesson there. And the children focus on Jesus as the good shepherd lesson. 11 and 12 and focus on Psalm 150. Maybe that and 100, which instructs everything and all people to praise God. Lesson 13 looks at Psalm 139, which serves as a reminder of the intimate relationship that God shares with humanity. So we'll be in Psalm. I love Psalms and Proverbs.
Yeah, well, you can find
Proverbs.
it. Say you can find it. You can find the answer to that problem that may creep up.
So that's good. Let me read our secretary report. Last word to come from the pastor. Okay, church school was open at 9:34. We were singing Come By Here, Lord, Apostles' Creed, prayer, reading of the lesson text, the summary of the Decalogue, lesson text, trust in God alone, Psalm 62. The key verse was, for God alone my soul waits in silence, for my hope is from him. Psalm 62, verses 5. Class number 1, teacher present. Class number 2, teacher present. Total pupils present today, 5. Total contribution today, $50. Any corrections or additions? If none, secretary report then approved. Last word from the pastor.
Good morning to everyone. Great lesson as always. My review is quickly. I'm actually going to focus on something they said, the lesson said in the beginning, in the introduction, and close to the end. In the introduction, it talked about the fast-paced world that we're living in. And it said right here, because of that, in our personal prayer lives, the same seems to apply. We rush through our prayers so we can get back to the demand of modern living. Slowly, it looks like Christians are losing the art of spending meaningful time before the throne of grace. And that's the problem. Christians are losing time. Disciples are not.
Yes.
So the first question we have to ask ourselves, are we a Christian or are we a disciple? Disciples follow Christ. Christians is just the religious people. But that's a different story for another day. In this fast-paced society, we are getting to the point that we don't want to wait. Remember growing up, you didn't have microwaves. So if you wanted that good meal, that something you had to wait on it. And smell it. You had to wait on it. We're at the point now in our lives. We don't even want to wait in a drive-through. It's 3 cars, right? We will leave here, leave the church, go to Taco Bell right here. Taco Bell got 10 cars in the line, right? We'll leave Taco Bell and go Burger King. Burger King got 5 cars. We'll leave there and go somewhere else. I don't know what else, McDonald's or stuff. And they ain't got no 1 car. And now we're in line, but we could have waited right now because the tacos was what we really wanted. But we didn't want to wait. So we drove 20 minutes for something else when we could have waited 20 minutes there because we don't want to wait no more. in society. And the thing is that microwave food tastes good, but it tastes better when it's home, when it's freshly cooked. Just like what the Lord says right here, one of the greatest benefits of waiting on God is ensuring the peace that comes during the wait. Going and waiting 15 minutes in the drive-thru. That's 10 to 15 minutes you ain't driving. That's 10 or 15 minutes you could have been spending with the Lord. That is 10 or 15 minutes you could have been jamming to your favorite song. That's been 10 or 15 minutes you could have been sending a text. While you were waiting right there, that's 10 or 15 minutes that you had where you didn't have to, your mind didn't have to do anything. You could have shut your mind off and just pull up when you had to. But instead, you didn't want to wait. So now you riding around trying to figure out what else you want because you don't want to wait. Sometimes waiting is peace. Because I'm going to wait right here on the Lord and I know he's going to take care of it. So guess what? When you know somebody's going to take care of something, do you have to worry about it because you know they're going to take care of it? Right. But if they're not taking care of you, you're going to constantly worry, right? You're going to constantly call, you're going to go check. You're going to go this. If somebody said they were changing the lights at the church and you didn't really trust them, you're going to come by the church and see if the lights been changed. You're going to keep running, but if you knew without a shadow of a doubt, when they said it was done, you ain't got to worry about it. That is what the Lord is telling you. When you ask him, when I say it's going to be done, it's going to be done, so you ain't got to worry about it. So you got peace in it. So let us start getting back to the old landmarks. Let us start finding that renewed faith. And that renewed faith only comes by waiting on the Lord. Because we're going to go through some stuff. There is no doubt about it. There are some things that we just going to have to go through. But the good thing about it is we ain't got to go through it alone. All right. Brother Ed, I might be able to call Brother Ed, maybe able to call Brother Monet, maybe able to call Brother Fidel. But guess what? They see y'all 2 hours away. And y'all will be on the phone with me trying to go through it and try to get to wherever I'm at. But while y'all trying to get there, the Lord is already there. So just continue. As David was going through this, trust. And David had to go through some stuff to realize about God's trust. That's why in his old age, when we look at Psalm 37, that's why David said, I once was young, but now I'm old. But I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging for bread. That's because David went through some stuff. And every time he went through it, the Lord was there to get him through it. So he's going to always be there in the middle of our midst. I may have said some of my sermon. Well, thank you. It's back in the hand.
I believe my AME
Church school must
Grow and grow.
and I must make a top priority to make so. Every member a Christian, every Christian a worker, every worker trained, so a worker need not be ashamed. This we ask in Jesus' name. We have come, we have studied, we have learned. So until our next coming together to study God's word, may His rich blessings reside with you, and may His grace be eternal.